Is Miss Bertha in yet?
You on mute.
I'm on mute.
Alicia, no, Alicia talking, but she on mute.
Yeah. So Don's coming in. You have co-host Don, Cantaria, you super hour. You got co-host.
Okay. Waiting for Miss Bertha to come in.
Let's keep it on push. She'll come in when she come in. Let's get it going.
All right. Well, today I have the esteemed honor of presenting my mentor, Mr. Yuri Velasquez, who's been an advocate in the community of Miami-Dade County for many of years. He has since moved to Washington, D.C. So we're going to hear about a little bit of the research studies that he participates in and a little bit about himself. So Mr. Yuri Velasquez, my mentor, take it away.
Well, what is too strong word, but I really appreciate you, Gina and Kotara, for the folks in the call.
Right, that's mine.
Kotara, we actually used to work together.
Yeah, it's
we
mine.
used to work together
Hold
in
on,
the
mute,
University
mute.
of Miami.
Hold on, mute yourself, Miss Dawn.
That's how I'm on this platform.
Why is everybody?
Right, so you're still
Hold
on
my
link.
Hold on, Yuri. Hold on.
All right.
Miss Dawn gotta mute herself. Okay, she's muted now, Yuri. Okay, I'm sorry.
She good? All right. Anyway.
Yes.
No. Again, thank you, Gina, for inviting me to this call. It's always a pleasure, always a great honor for me to talk about, the fight that we've done, everything the struggles that we've been through. People living with HIV, they've gone through a lot. From the stigma to the medications to the dating and rejections and all that stuff. I mean, once you have something like HIV, AIDS, and it's a chronic to navigate life, right? Because there's a lot of other things that we have to deal with. But as I was saying earlier, who is a legend in HIV care, with Wendell Scott, with Anna Garcia, with Joy,
Dr. Friedman.
Yeah, as well. He's been doing great work in the HIV prevention fields last 25. Yeah, we will tell him he's old. He's just older. And I love everybody that I've worked with for the past 20 years or so. And so thank you again for the invitation. I am Yuri Velasquez. I am originally from Nicaragua, and moved to Miami for college and just really start my career in education. I say that being in this field has taught me a lot of resilience, has taught me patience and compassion when it comes to education. I will also say I have honors of working with amazing years. Gina,
I hate to interrupt you, Yuri. Your microphone is muffling really bad, and I know you have some powerful testimony. Is it possible to change your location? But it's muffling really, really bad.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me just try to take this off. Hold on. How about now?
Sounds good.
Is it better?
Yes.
Better, yeah.
All right. I guess I won't repeat everything that I said, but generally, I think that working in the HIV field has taught me a lot of, like I said, patience and compassion when it comes to folks living with HIV, affected by HIV, family, community, everybody really that touches this human beings, right? I think sometimes we always forget that HIV stands for human immunodeficiency virus, and the human part of it, right? I think it's something that people forget, right? This doesn't affect, only one race. This doesn't affect only one gender. This doesn't affect only one sexual preference. It affects humans, period, right? And it's great to work in the field for so long that you've seen the changes, you've seen the evolution, from medications to PrEP. Now we have PrEP, we have PEP, and even we now have DoxyPEP, right, for to prevent STDs. But again, I think it's just very important that we remember that the HIV, AIDS, and the stigma really affects human beings, right? And everyone, regardless of where you're from or regardless of how you acquire the virus, something that you really need to be conscious about and be compassionate about, right? To the folks. I will just very quickly tell you a little bit about me, my testimony.
Alicia, are you live?
We are live. Yes, we are live and ready to go.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
So I'll go to your Facebook page and share it.
All right. Great. So I have been living with HIV for 21 years. And that's something that when I think about is remarkable, because time flies, time is going by so fast. And the first few years, once you are diagnosed, it changes your world, right? Again, regardless of how you acquire the disease or how the virus or how you became aware of it, right? So for folks who were born with HIV, right, they become aware when they're older. It changes your world because there is a stigma in the world here, and we need to first of all become very, very educated about HIV, AIDS, where it started, how it started, who mostly affected by it, the stigma surrounding, the race and the sexual orientations, and I was very young. I was still in high school, and it was really scary for me because I was living with family members, wasn't living with parents. So the support system really wasn't there. I really started my support system really with the clinicians and the practitioners that I was receiving my care, right? And I mentioned Dr. Lawrence Friedman earlier. He is a staple when it comes to HIV treatment and care in the Miami area, and he's been doing this from the very, very, very beginning, along with other heavy hitters in the pediatric care. So I think that the fact that I acquired HIV earlier in my life, but became very educated about the virus and the history basically of HIV and AIDS, it really gave me the tools to be an advocate in my community, an advocate for my peers. I remember that as soon as I found out, I wanted to just give back, right? I said this was something that wasn't planned. It was something that it happened. It happened to the best of us. It happened to just anybody who's not aware. And I didn't want my peers to go through the same experience. So I quickly became an advocate in my community. With high schools, I would go around to different high schools in Miami and colleges, talk about my experience and the treatment and medication and all that stuff. So I wanted people to know, right, especially my peers, that it could happen to you. Right. It wasn't really, if you're just sleeping around and doing this stuff. No, it can happen to anybody. Right. Sometimes we always forget that there are people who were born with HIV, and it's not necessarily, it's not about their fault. Right. It just happens. There's no education. There was no education for the families about prevention and things like that. Right. So we really need to make sure that everyone is educated. That was my form when it came to speaking out about my HIV experience. And again, becoming educated, talking to my peers, asking them to just be careful and use protection. Now, remember, we're talking about 20 plus years ago. So there was no such thing as PEP or PrEP or any of those things, right? So it was really about, sometimes abstinence, sometimes condoms, sometimes a combination of things. And then as science, evolved, and as we evolved, and as just time just changed, we came on to talk about PrEP, right? PrEP was such a revolutionary finding and discovery, really, that it's changed the world, right? We have the U equals U movement, where if you're undetectable, you're untransmittable, and that is something that is changed really the game when it comes to HIV prevention. One, for people who are negative, but also for people who are positive and are trying to destigmatize HIV and AIDS. So again, once I've been doing this for 20, like 25 years. Let's just say 25 years. And just learning the new technologies, biomedical prevention, methods. I think it's also very important. And not only that, you also need to spread the word, right? I always hear this saying that spread the word, not the disease, which is, I think, is really funny. But I mean, it really is really true when it comes to the prevention field. So I want to talk just a little bit again, PEP. So for those folks who are in the line and may not know fully what PEP and PrEP is all about, PrEP stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is basically medication that you take to prevent HIV acquisition. But let's say you had a little upset, or you had type of exposure to HIV, whether it's through sex exposure or through exposure. We have something called PEP. So that's post-exposure prophylaxis, which means, again, you take a medication, a combination, a combination of medication for HIV prevention, and you take it for 28 days, so, a month. PrEP, on the other hand, you take it on a daily basis. It's a pill. You take it once a day. There are all other methods now, again, through technology. Technology and science are evolving so fast, which is great. There are also injections for PrEP that you can take every other month, I believe, or every 3 months. So it's also pretty cool, right? Because some people don't like to take medication every day, or some people just forget that you have to take these medications. So there are injectables that are available for folks if they choose so, and also for AIDS as well, right? If you take medication, you know that AIDS every day, but are also injectable treatment for HIV nowadays, which is also something that's is changing the world, really. And then so the last thing I'll say, when it comes to HIV and the experience and living with it and dealing with it and being taking care of it, it's really dating, right? Because we are humans, right? Humans, they fall in love and they start dating and they want to date some people. And again, the stigma is real, and the stigma has really taken uh, we've taken a heavy hit on and because really of the way that it was portrayed back in the 80s when it first came out. And it was just very again, um, nobody really wanted to be associated with anyone with HIV. You were having a sexual intercourse with that person, or you were young, right?
Did he just drop off?
Yeah, we just lost Yuri, but while we're waiting for him, he's coming back on.
Okay, Miss,
Uh,
you're back? Okay,
yeah,
I see
can
him.
you hear me?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Great. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I guess my little spiel here. Dating. So dating. I've been dating since my diagnosis. I consider myself a long-term relationship. So my relationships have been long-term, years and years. And I will say that it's not easy to disclose your status, especially at the beginning, when I first acquired HIV. But with time and with experience, it makes it a little easier, right? And obviously, if you yourself with all the education that exists and and all the tools that you have, the resources, it is easier to just say, hey, if you're talking to someone, this is what's going on, this is what I have, but these are the resources available, right? This is the places that you can go to just learn more about it, right? And just really empower the person that the people that you just educate to more, right? Um, Also learn more about you as a person will helps, I think. And I think that because I've
All right, we seem to be having more technical difficulties with Yuri.
yeah, so sorry. I don't know what's going on. I have all the bars. But anyway, yeah, anyway, uh, I will just cover before I get disconnected again. And when it comes to dating, again, education is
Okay.
very important. You need to educate yourself. You need to educate your partners, or people that you're talking to, and just give them the resources, right? Just let them know these are the resources that are available for you. And when it comes to it's like sexual relationship, when it comes to that time, right? Because it will happen eventually. Again, there's the prep, there's the pep, and there's all this the tools available to prevent possible um, infection. So that's my little spiel, and that's my little thing, and that's who I am, and I'm continuing doing the good work, and I will leave you with this last kernel of information and knowledge. Yes, I moved down to Washington D.C. from Florida, and I work on a contract with NIH, the National Institutes of Health, and we're doing something called All of Us Research Program, and that is an amazing, amazing program. It's very historic program that is trying to collect information from diverse communities. This program is going to last 10 years or more. We're trying to recruit a million people or more from diverse communities, and so far we have 700 plus thousand people, which is amazing. And 80% of those folks that are signed up are from diverse communities and minority communities and communities that have been underrepresented in biomedical research. So again, we want to reflect the diversity of the country. And basically, the goal of the program is to collect as much information from your environment, from your biology, from your genetics, from where you play, where you pray, all that information to make that available to researchers so that they can come up with treatment opportunities, treatment options, with cures, with prevention methods, and all this stuff. So go to the website www.joinallofus.org /together, and in Espanol www.joinallofus.org/todos juntos. So there you go. It's my little thing, little plug.
Yuri, I love when you speak Spanish, Yuri. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Yuri. I got one question for you.
Okay, I got an answer for you.
How old were you when you was diagnosed? I think you said you was a teenager.
Yeah, I was 18.
Okay, now, how was your team, the people taking care of you? How was that process for you when you got linked into care? Um, did you disclose to your family right away? Were you put on medication right away? What did
That's
that look like for you?
That's a great question. That's a really, really good question. So yeah, again, I said earlier that the team that took care of me, Dr. Friedman and Donna and Hannah and all the folks, social workers. Again, I gotta shout out to my social workers because I'm a social worker, so I gotta give a shout out to them. Yeah, so they were amazing, right? Very compassionate because they've been doing this for a very, very long time. Disclosure when it comes to family, it wasn't immediate, right? Because I was still learning about this. And so again, it took me a lot to learn and a lot to get to know me, get to know myself, and get to know like the community, get to know other patients, other folks like me, and just really become comfortable with what I was dealing with, right? it was not something that, again, because of the stigma, is you want to know how to answer the questions, right? In case some people are asking you questions about it, like, how did you get it? Did you know? Did you not know? And like, what's going on? Right. So you want to really arm yourself with knowledge and just education, right? So it took me a little while, right? But again, thanks to the folks from my care team, Dr. Freeman and folks. They did coach me through how to disclose with people, to family, how to disclose to potential romantic sexual partners, and really gave me the confidence and the push that I really needed, right? The umph that I needed when to just be true to myself and just be comfortable in my own skin, right? So again, to answer your question, I did not disclose to my family until later. I don't want to say many years later, but yeah, it took me a little while, right? When it comes to linkage to care, again, the health department pretty much in all the country are amazing. A shout out to my DIS, the disease intervention specialist and linkage to care specialist out there in health departments, because I also did that too for a while. And yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work to just tell someone, hey, this is your status, right? Because you're changing someone's life, and someone's family and all that. But again, my team was amazing. Health department folks were amazing in Miami-Dade County. Again, shout out to them. And yeah, did that answer the question?
Yeah, that was about what I wanted to ask you. We have a hand raised, Miss Kantara Lane. You have a question?
I do have the question. Yuri, I've known you since 2006, and from this particular time frame up until now, when you first came out and disclosed your status to the public, how was your speaking for the first time face to face out in the community? How did you accept others? How did others accept you? How are you feeling during that moment? And comparing back then versus back now, how easy it is or how hard it still is. Can you elaborate on that?
Of course, yeah. I remember that my first speaking gig was with Alex Moreno. Again, shout out to him, from Adolescent Medicine, University of Miami. And so that my first speaking gig was at a high school, and it was an after school program. I honestly can't remember what the program was, but it was a bunch of kids, again, around my age, because I was also in high school. And they were like ninth graders, they're 10th graders, 11th graders, like all throughout, like all the years. And I was shaking like a leaf. I can tell you that, because it was the first time that I had said that in public, out loud, right? Yes, it's different when you go to the doctor and you hear this from like providers and whatever, and that's their job. But it was very difficult for me to just say, hey, this is what I have. This is what's going on. This is how I got it. Right. But because I'm a people person. So, and I love to speak in front of folks. I love the arts as well. So I do a lot of theater. But yeah, I think it's very difficult to just say that out loud. Right. I think, again, it took me, like I said before, it took me a little while to learn and be comfortable with myself first, in order for me to be open, comfortable and open with the world. But I think that the first speaking gig that I had with my peers, right, with high school students, and just knowing that my testimony was going to help them make a choice, right? You want to obviously say, don't do that, right? But you can say that, because people will do whatever they want to do. And, especially kids, kids nowadays, they're all over the place. But if you teach them the right way, if you give them the tools, if you give them the education and just the resources that they need for them to make an informed decision, to make the right choice, right? I think that that's what motivated me to just go on and on and on, right? Because the first time is the hardest time, right? But after that, I was like, you know what? This wasn't that bad. It was scary, but I was accepted.
Yeah.
People came up to me, they patted me on the back, and they're like, thank you for being brave and just saying this to people that you don't know, strangers, right? And I think that also gave me the push to be like, hey, I want to on a city-wide level, on a statewide level, on a national level, international level. So I just went ahead and just booked all these things campaigns for CDC, campaigns for NIH, campaigns for health departments, campaigns for this and that. And I can tell you that it gets easier every time you say it, because it becomes who you are, it becomes the truth, and it becomes real. And you don't want to live in the shadows. You do not want to live behind a persona that's not you, right? You want to be true to yourself, and you just want to just live you true and just live free. And I think just speaking out loud allows you to be free.
Well, I thank you for your freedom, your honesty, and your testimony. I thank you for being face to face on this platform, because that's what it's about. It's not easy, but it's definitely needed. So I thank you for all the accomplishments and even the live life experience that I witnessed throughout the years. So thank you.
I will say one last thing. Shout out, and a very very nice shout out to my partner. I will not name names because I haven't had a consent to disclose his name, but a shout out, he knows who he is. He's but yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuri. Thank you so much, brother. That's my brother right there. He has impacted me, inspired me, put me on national things. And girl, you ready? Come on, let's go.
Let's do it.
And that's what it takes. Grab your sister, grab your brother, and just let them know it's okay. You got this. Our next person that we're going to hear from, Miss Bertha Chavez. She's going to come on, introduce herself, and let us know a little bit about herself and what she's been dealing with. Welcome, Miss Bertha.
Good evening, everyone. Seems like we've been here for hours and hours.
We have.
Enjoyable and informative. Well, in 2000, my husband had a stroke, in which I was living in Atlanta, everyone. My name is Bertha Chavez, number one. I'm from a little city from outside of Miami. They call it Seminole. And my family was the first Black settlers there. And they're celebrating 100 years, in which I'm working with the mayor and keeping my family's legacy alive, because my grandfather, James H. Bright, brought him there and he migrated there. It's the first Black settler. Just to let that out, it's Black History Month. And that event, I'll let PPN know when that's going to occur. Okay, getting back to me. In 2000, my husband had a stroke. We were in Atlanta, in which the hospital had to send him down to Warm Springs, Georgia, to learn how to walk, talk. And once he was admitted there, they did blood work on him. So this particular day when I came there, they said, Miss Chavez, when you go back to Atlanta, we would like to have you go to the Department of Health and get tested. I said, get tested for what? They said, because we see something in your husband's blood that isn't, it doesn't look good. So I'm thinking, oh Lord, he's getting ready to die. I was naive. And so I said, okay. So when I went to Atlanta, Grady, across the street from Grady, there was the health department. And my doctor name at the time was Dr. Biggers. So I went there. So I got the letter in the mail before that, after that. And when I went back, she said, you're HIV positive. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I was like everybody else. Oh, I'm getting ready to die. I'm, going through all the motions. So when I went to see my husband that Saturday, because I used to go every weekend, I would drive from Atlanta to Warm Springs, Georgia, to see him at the Roosevelt Institute of Health. That's where he had to learn how to use the wheelchairs, the different type of wheelchairs and all of this. As he laying down there, and when I told him I wanted to kill him, and he said, B, I was diagnosed when I was in Miami. He said, well, I said, oh yeah. I said, but I'm gonna die. We have 2 children. What do I tell them? So as I'm driving back, because I used to drive down by myself, I'm thinking all kind of things going through my head, you know, how I'm gonna tell my children, Lord, am I gonna be here for them to grow, get older? My baby hadn't graduated high school yet. So to make a long story short, so when he did come home and we sitting at the dinner table, and I said, I gotta tell him, I gotta tell him. So my husband was taking Variceps, Comavir, and all of those meds, in which he was taking like 8 pills plus for his neurology problem. He had a nerve problem and he had seizures. And it was like I was the only one who knew how to comfort him. But as we're sitting there at the dinner table, and I said, I gotta tell him. I gotta tell him. So as I'm telling them, they, you know, with all the computer and the the Sega Genesis, all this and whatever. That little nerd, because I have a thug and a nerd. The nerdy one, Jay, the baby girl, when I tell him, it's, Mom, we already know. How you know? Mom, I looked on Dad's medicine, the capsules, you know what and that's how, you know, I found what? So, but they accepted. They said, still love you, Mom. So, come to find out, I'm what you consider an elite controller. I've never been on meds. My husband was on all that. My husband had AIDS. His death certificate says AIDS, in which he only lived 2 years after our diagnosis. Here it is in 2024 years later, here I am. In which when I told my mother said the same thing my children said. I still love you. So a lot of people don't know what an elite controller is. If I could just read this little snippet. An elite controller is a person living with HIV who is able to maintain undetectable viral loads for at least 12 months despite not having started antiretroviral therapy. An elite controller are rare. For every 200 people living with HIV, approximately 1 may be an elite controller, in which God has sustained me this long to instill an elite controller, in which I'm out here being an advocate to let people know you can live after diagnosis. And being an elite control, I don't even think about me being HIV. I don't even think of every day God allowed me to wake up, because it's not something that I went and I wanted. This happened to us without even knowing. Not to say being born with it, being a dandelion, or being with someone who we thought loved us, who we contracted it from, or having a blood transfusion without knowing that the blood was tampered with. We don't know, but we didn't ask for this. But he allowed us these many years to be here, to be the ones who, hey, look at our community. They don't look like nothing's wrong with them, because they always wanted to see where is something not normal. But when they see us, they say these people outlive what they thought was a death threat. And I'm here to say, this 24-hour platform, letting people know, hey, there's life after diagnosis. And I am so appreciative for PPN giving me a platform and Dawn Breeden. I met her at the conference. The first conference I've ever went to, no, it was so surreal because I did not know that we had a conference of our community. And Gina, Rosie, STS has given me the experience and just the education of helping people and educating them and just letting me just have my wings. The same wings I had when I gave a little of my testimony to the church here in Miami, the Bethel Church. Like I told them, and my little mantra is, I'm the butterfly that God let out of the cocoon. And I'm here to stand for whatever we need to do, far as policy changing, far as just letting people know that HIV is not a death threat. Life is beautiful, and it's all in taking care of yourself. Not, so just to give you all a tidbit of what my experience is living what they claim we have. Thank you. I just want to say thank you.
So, Ms. Bertha, I have a question.
Yes.
So, since you are a elite controller, how often do you go see your medical provider? And how do you keep your immune system healthy since you are not on medication?
I go every 3 months, every 6 months. And you know what my doctor tell me, Erica Walton? Miss Chavis, your CD4 count is good. Your TD cells, keep doing what you're doing. And you know what I tell her? It's nothing that I'm doing. I eat what I want to eat. I have a partner in which I always have protective sex when we do. And he's negative. But I don't do nothing no different than nobody else. It's God who sustains this body. It's nothing I'm doing. It's nothing. It's nothing I'm taking. It's nothing but God.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. My God, thank you. Ooh, an elite controller.
Yeah.
My God.
Miss Shakila Shaw has her hand raised. Come on, Miss Shakila Shaw.
Miss Bertha, good afternoon. I'm back. I had to go get y'all boys something to eat. But Miss Bertha,
Yes.
do you still go up to NIH?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay, they're getting ready to start it again.
Okay.
In which we stopped going after COVID hit. It's just a few of us going to do it. They're going to, they sent me a letter a few weeks ago, and they're going to let me know when the research will open again.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's what was my question. I was like, I wonder if she still go. And like you say, after COVID, they getting back on track. So would anybody be able to register or just for the elite controllers? Or do they have other studies?
What is NIH? Can y'all say what NIH is?
National
please?
Institute of Health. That's where Dr. Fauci.
Yes. That's the government.
The government. And they give a little stipend for doing it. They fly me up there, they house me and fly back. I'm grateful to be involved.
Do you need an assistant?
I got it.
Do you need an assistant when you go, Bertha? Because
no,
just saying.
No.
Yeah,
I
you
just
trying to get flown out too.
Yes. We tried to go with you.
Woo!
Yes.
Oh,
How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing? Y'all keep the questions coming. I don't think Mr. Yuri
Yeah.
Velasquez is on still. But does anyone else have any questions?
Derek has his hand raised.
Mr. Derek?
I have a question for Miss Bertha. I'm not gonna mention the name, but this person used to come on the call, and she was the elite controller. And during COVID, her doctor put her on the begin her on the medication. Did they ask you about going on medication during COVID?
I've never, no, my doctors, every doctor I've been with, never told me anything about meds. That's why when I tell my story, it's God. It really is, because I'm not doing nothing to keep this under control. I don't even think about it. And it's been 24 years. My husband had AIDS because he was an intravenous user. He contracted it from the needles, and after he had his stroke, that was brought it out. But my kids will tell you, I've never been on medicine in my life. And I'm undetectable. My viral load, my doctors are amazed. That's why they told me, you need to go to NIH. You need to get into research. And that's what gets me. Here it is. I was in research. I had been going for at least like 3 years, going up to Bethesda, flying up. And here it is, the few of us who have gone, you mean to tell me you don't have a cure? Our people are still taking meds, and here it is. I'm not doing anything. What you all are testing my blood, and you all haven't come up with nothing because y'all feel it's going to hurt the pharmaceutical companies. What they're going to go out of business? But we got these people who used to talking about a cocktail or this or that, and here it is. I'm a person, I haven't taken anything, and something is sustaining something in my body. My system is keeping this at bay.
That's God.
You mean to tell me our community can't, whatever is going on,
that ain't medical science, that's God.
That's where I'm angry. That's why I'm advocating. Because who am I? God created me. He created me. And whatever's going on with my system, you can't help my community. 24 years and I'm not on nothing? Come on. Something wrong with this picture. Something wrong with the picture. And that's why I'm advocating. That's why I'm glad I met Alicia. I'm glad I met Gina, Rosie, Dawn, and I'm a newcomer to Rock for Aging too, with Linda Scruggs. I met her when I was at the conference, and I'm a newcomer with that organization.
Thank you so much, Bertha. Powerful. Man, powerful. We have an array. God has set this up. We have an array of people with expertise, lived experiences, living positively, living our best life, living, man, this is so good. This is so good. I just want to say I see my friends, my brother and sister, the Searles. I think they have, are they 3 p.m. or 3? What time are they, Dawn?
That look like a
4. 4 to 5.
Oh, okay. All right.
I will write down the time frame inside. I will rename them when their time come up.
Okay.
Let's we continue to go. I just wanted to piggyback on Mr. Derek and also Miss Bertha, because I recall, and I did see that where the seroconversion patient, she revealed that she now has to take medication. One of the things as a long-term survivor, 38 years of dealing with HIV, I have been part of research with NIH on a long-term study. As of last year, they discontinued that study because more money is going into the COVID Foundation. And studying COVID research and HIV. So it's not studying long-term survivors. One of my things is advocating for yourself. Sometimes these doctors have to push the medication because that's what they do, push medication. But it's up to us as the consumer, as the patients, to advocate for ourselves. We can decline. What is not broken does not need to be fixed. And I say that to a point where I am resistant towards 30 classifications of the medications. There's about 32, including the 2 new injections that they just came out with. I refuse to reject injections because of my medication is the first time I've taken it, and it has not gave me any type of side effects. It has not done any type of damage internally to liver or anything of that nature. So why would I change to a vaccine? And not saying I'm not for vaccines or anything like that, but I'm just saying what's not broke, don't fix it. Sometimes our physicians, they have to push these medications because that's part of their policy, but it's up to us as advocates, as consumers, to do our own research and make sure that it is the right fit for us when we're taking these medications. So as an elite controller, I always envy elite controllers because I've been getting medicine my entire life, and I did have a friend, and she's still living to this day, who is a elite controller. So again, you don't take medications, but you have a sustainable viral load, which causes the virus not to mutate. For someone like myself, I have to take medication because if I don't take medication, it may not happen tomorrow if I miss a dose. It may not happen next year, but it will happen one day when my T cells are going to decline. I will abstain some type of infection, and that infection can cause me to ruin my life. And these are some of the life lessons I learned over the years of being HIV infected. And I just want to be able to share it with you guys that there is a such word called resistance. So you want to make sure that when you are taking these medicines, you're taking them correctly because you do not want to become resistant. Because at the end of the day, if it's medication that's our lifeline, we have to take it until they come up with a cure, and we're face to face that we could demand that cure.
But Tara, that's what hurt me. That's why I'm angry when it comes to, it's like you're a guinea pig. Here it is, whatever is going on in my body or others who's like me. There's a cure. It's got to be. You can't tell me, so you're going to guinea pig our people of color with medicine. Just give me, you take this, you take that, because you take this.
That's why so many of my friends died in the 80s, because we were the guinea pigs to the scientists. We were the ones who were taking the same amount of doses as they was giving the adults. They didn't have a regimen. It wasn't until research came about where I sat on a panel with Impact and demand that, hey, I'm taking all these medications, poured out my whole entire medications I wasn't taking onto a table and told them that something has to be done. And then a cocktail came out to where it decreased the number of medications you take, but it's still it increased the number of actual pills that you take, but you're still taking a lot of medication because it's
a lot of people
in one. So,
and a lot of people be sick behind it too.
Well, no, these days, not too many people are getting sick with HIV medication. Scientists have come a long way. Yeah. So they are not getting sick with
Tara, I know I have a young lady that I know. She take her meds and sometimes she will stop because of the reaction that it had. And this is 2024. She will stop for a minute and I have to tell, girl, you need to stay on your regimen, stay on your regimen. So everybody body, it's not alike, but I feel that they're with the pharmaceutical companies, and I know they have to make money, but here it is so many of us is sustaining this And you mean to tell me you can't, whatever is going on in our bodies, that it can't help my community? Come on.
Let me say this. If I may say something, please. Can I chime in?
Just a second, Miss Rosie. Miss
Okay.
Shakila had her hand raised for a long period of time, and then we'll come back to Miss Rosie.
She stepped away.
Oh, she stepped away. So go ahead, Miss Rosie.
I'll say this. Think it not strange that you, Bertha,
yes,
are on this live face to face, sharing your lived experience with HIV. And hear me clearly. You appear to be the oddball. But God is making a statement with you. One thing I know, and that it's not unrighteous for God to say by few or by many. But when God is doing something, and I'm talking to you, when God is doing something, he will consecrate and separate a few that are not like the others of a main situation to make a statement. Mm-hmm. Now, could it be just that you asked the question, just that you are on pharmaceuticals, that you are in researches, and you're asking the question, what is it about HIV in me and HIV in them? Is a very good question. Don't ever stop asking. God got you there. I perceive strongly that he got you there for a reason, and he got you there. I can perceive in my spirit that he got you there to make a statement. Mm-hmm. And you're not the only one. And the majority don't rule. Ain't got the last say. Amen. Keep doing what you doing. Keep knocking, keep asking, keep seeking, keep raising your voice and using your influence. Because it's a real place and you asking a real question. What is it about me and a few others that have HIV and we're elite controllers compared to the others? Yeah. A very valid question. Keep doing what you're doing.
And may I say something? I had got into the last research I did was for Cabenuva. It didn't agree with me. It shot my viral load and CD4 through the roof. But 6 months later, when I went back to get retested, they looking at me like, wait a minute, what happened? Your viral loads was in the 100,000s. Now you back undetectable. I say, because it didn't agree with me. I say it didn't agree with me. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I went back so fast. I guess they was expecting me to get sick, but I didn't get sick. It's just that my body rejected what y'all was putting inside of me because it knew that it didn't belong there. So, just like when I bounced back from an AIDS diagnosis, my CD4 was 24. Viral load caught over 400,000. And for me to walk out of that hospital a month and a half later, I know that wasn't nobody but God. Some people don't come back from it. But I'm not going to say for some strange reason, he got me here for a reason. I think he got all of the, on this platform today. It's not by coincidence we on this platform. We gonna reach the masses. So it won't be so much stigma and discrimination attached to HIV. Now we're gonna start getting phone calls because they want to know, where could I go get help? Who could I talk to? Because they were afraid. But now they seeing us on this platform, they're gonna want to reach out. And that's what God just dropped in my spirit.
Amen.
Y'all, we are 2 minutes away from closing out the session. I want to thank everyone, Mr. Yuri Velasquez, Miss Bertha Chavez, Miss Kantara Lane, myself, everyone for staying, chiming in, asking those important questions, and know that it's no question that's stupid. Every question there's may not be an answer for right now, but it should be talked about. Because just by us talking right now, somebody out there watching is getting the answers that they need. Somebody's getting that education that they never got. And I just want to thank everyone for chiming in today. And I guess we got 2 minutes to go. Anybody else got anything to say before we start the next session at 3?
Okay,
Maybe take a little break or something, use the bathroom, or I don't know. However we got.
I'm gonna stop the recording and start it back. Is that how we've been?
Okay.
Okay.
Miss Janice, it's good to see you, boo. I think Miss Janice was in Glow with us for some reason. Was you in Glow, Miss Janice? No? You on mute, boo?
No, I didn't get to do